Everybody, how are you? So welcome back and welcome to the new people who are joining us today. So if you don't know me, my name is Nicole and this is my last open lesson. I'm so sad. My last open lesson, but I will still be teaching lessons that you can take, but they are paid lessons. Paid lessons. And I'll tell you today how you can join the paid lessons if you're interested. And then after that, we're going to learn about prepositions. Everyone's favorite. Just kidding. I know that most people don't really like prepositions. But it's going to be really fun and we're going to have a great time. Okay, so let's take a look at how to join my class. Here we go. One moment. There we go. So there's a few things that we can do here. The first thing that we can do is you can contact Zach. This is Zach's email, so if you have any questions, you can contact Zach. You can also go to his Facebook page. Let's take a look at his Facebook page just for fun. Look who this is! Look at this handsome face. So this is Zach's Facebook page, and if you have questions, you can go talk to him and he can help you with that. Although, of course, you can just sign up for classes directly if you go to this website, this website right here. So http://www.smartenglish.com/scl/live. I'll show you what that looks like. So this website looks like this. So it talks about the Smrt live classes. And then if you scroll down a little bit, here's me. Yay! So you can join this class, or you can join Mark's class, or Neil, or Josh, or Sagan. So I hope that that helps. And again, let me show you that website, all these websites. So Zach's email, Zach's Facebook, and the Smrt Live page. So I hope that helps, and I hope maybe I can see some of you in my closed class next week. Same time. Okay, are you ready for today's lesson? Today's lesson is prepositions. Prepositions. I don't want you to see any prepositions yet. Okay, prepositions. So for prepositions, does anybody know what a preposition is? I'll give you an example. On is a preposition. Do you know any other prepositions? Can you write them in the chat? Prepositions. I'll put one more. I'll put in. Hello everybody. Oh, I have a question from Anthony. Anthony asked, why is it called a closed class? And that's a good question. So an open class means it is open, like an open door, for everyone. Anyone can join. It can be 100 people, no problem. A closed class means only a few people can enter. Not everyone can come. So a few people. can come. The open classes are free and the closed classes are paid. So just think like an open door or a closed door. I hope that answered your question, Anthony. Oh, good. I have some prepositions rolling in. Okay, so let's see what we got. We have from Ziad, we have at. And then from Anthony, we have about. And then in, on, at. From Mukhtar, he said over. Very good. Ooh, and then Suji talks about what a preposition is. Very nice. We also have into and onto. Within. Ooh, that's a good one. As is sometimes a preposition, sometimes a conjunction, but very good. Let's see. In, at, on, onto, into, over. Oh, above. I don't have that one. Very good. Above. Let's see. All right, so good job, you guys. That's a good list of prepositions. Even if you don't know prepositions, I think you can see from this list generally what is a preposition, right? Prepositions are usually small words that talk about things like place, time, or how something is done. For example, we can use over to talk about place. For example, I can say, the mug is over the phone. Let's see if I can do this. Mug, phone. So the mug is over the phone. That's an example of a preposition for place. We can also use prepositions to talk about time. For example, we can use at to talk about what time it is. For example, we can say, my class begins at 7:30 a.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. Pacific Standard Time. So for me, right now, it's very early. I don't know if that's different for where you are. I know some people said good evening or good afternoon when they came here. But my class begins at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We can also use prepositions to talk about how something is done. I'll give you an example. Let's see, we can use a word like with, like I go to class with my friend. How do I go to class? Together with my friend. We use prepositions for some other things too. For example, as is a preposition for comparison usually. Than is also a preposition for comparison. So there are many reasons why we use prepositions. So it's such a big topic, I'm going to make it a little smaller. So my focus today is going to be prepositions of time. Prepositions of time. And I'm going to start with at, on, and in. And if we have more time at the end, I'll add some more. But that's a good place to start, I think, is at, on, and in. So how are we doing so far? Oh gosh, there's lots of questions. So I'll let Zach answer the questions about joining the classes. But I do have some examples from students, like Ziad wrote, I'm in the car. And that's a good example for place. So I'm in the car. That's a great example for place. Very nice. And then Mukhtar said that it's 5:40, and so did Golton. It's 5:40. Oh, very interesting. Very different times all around the world. Okay, are you ready? Ready for prepositions? Prepositions of time? Okay, so let's go to the Smrt website, and I'll show you a slideshow from the Smrt website about prepositions. Here we go. So, prepositions of time. Here are some examples. It says here, on Tuesday morning, I had class. In the afternoon, I studied at the library. Oh, let me get rid of my picture for just a moment. There we go. In the evening, I went home and made dinner. At night, I watched a movie with some friends. So you see the word on, in, and at are different prepositions that we use to talk about time. So today, I will teach you the rules. Sounds good? Okay, here we go. Oh, so I had a good question from Ziad. Let me go back to this screen here. So, how many prepositions do we use for time? Ooh, that's a good question. How many? I know, of course, we use at, on, and in, but there's many more. For example, we use for or since to talk about duration. Until talks about time as well. Sometimes we use to, like for time, like I study from this. We use from and to together to talk about time. Let's see, how many more do we use to talk about time? Well, this is probably a good start. So these prepositions are probably the most common prepositions to talk about time. And there's probably a few more. Maybe I'll think of some more later. All right, that's a good question. Okay, so, someone asked me a preposition question. Mukhtar said, let's see, he said, I'm home. I am at home. Which one is correct? So both of these sentences are correct. Both of these sentences are correct. I am home or I am at home. They're both just fine. You can just say this or you can use the preposition. No problem. You could also say I am in my home if you want to focus on inside. Good. All right. So let's take a look at this slideshow. Okay. So these were our example sentences. And now we're going to talk about the word at. So at is a very common preposition for talking about time. Here we go. First, we use at to talk about clock time. Clock time. So what do I mean by clock time? Clock time is the numbers that you see on your watch or your clock. So let's take a look at some examples. We have at 3 o'clock, at 8:30 p.m., at noon, and at midnight. Noon is 12 o'clock daytime, the middle of the day. Midnight is 12 o'clock night, the middle of the night. So you can just think midnight, middle of the night. But both of those are times, 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock. Oh, let's see. I have a question from Vimal says, is there any completion to learn the rules of preposition? Without learning the rules, can we learn prepositions? That's a great question. Let me write that here. So the question is, without learning the rules, can we learn prepositions? And the answer is sometimes. This is how native speakers learn prepositions. When I was a child, I didn't take a class that told me when to use at or in or on or of. I just learned English naturally from speaking to my family and speaking to people at school. So I didn't learn specifically the rules. I learned from the environment. That's very easy for children. That's very hard for adults. But it's not impossible. Some people can learn like this. But most adults need the rules because second languages or third languages or fourth languages are much, much more difficult for us to learn. So learning the rules can really help us. So that's a great question, Vimal. Thank you. All right, so let's take a look at. Okay, so these are our 4 example sentences. And we also use at with the following time expressions. This just means some more words we use with at. So at is for clock time and also for night and Christmas and Easter and this phrase at the moment. At the moment means right now. So if you don't know Christmas or Easter, these are holidays. Christmas is a holiday in December, and Easter is a holiday in the spring. So we can say, for example, I get presents at Christmas. Oh, I have another question. So is it okay to say much, much in a sentence? This is a question from Anthony. Is it okay to say much, much in a sentence? Let me think. I wouldn't write it in an essay, but you could say this while you're speaking for emphasis. For example, let me think of an example. So much is usually for negatives or questions. We can also use it with the word to. Let me think. We could say he doesn't have much time is a good example sentence for much. If you were just trying to make emphasis, you could say, he doesn't have much time, but that would be very casual. It wouldn't be like normal, formal English. So good question. Also, if you want to know, much is not a preposition. So much is a quantifier. A quantifier is like a kind of determiner. Quantifiers are all those words like much, many, a lot of, a few. Those are called quantifiers, but they're not prepositions. Okay, so good question so far. So let's review at. I made a chart down here for us to look at. All right. Okay, so here is at. we use at for clock time. For example, he eats at 6:30 p.m. We also use at for Christmas and Easter. For example, they see their family at Easter. And finally, we use at for words like night or at the moment. For example, I study at night, or maybe I am studying at the moment. Let's take a minute to practice. Can you write some examples in the chat with the word at to talk about time, not place? Don't say I'm at home, but for time. At for time. I'll write a couple examples while I'm waiting for your examples. Let's see. How about, maybe I saw a ghost at midnight. All right. Let's see. I'm still waiting for, I have my first example from How Win. See, I usually get up at 6 a.m. At 6 a.m. Very nice. Good, good, good. Okay. I have one from Selma. I left at 8 p.m. Perfect. Very nice. Suji wrote, I have to go at work. So we wouldn't say at work with go. We'd say to. I have to go to work. After the word go, we usually use the word to. So go to. I go to school. I go to the restaurant. But go plus to very often go together. But good try, Suji. Okay, any more for at? Let's see. I have a couple. He was in, I'll say the hospital at 7 p.m. Good, very good. And I always have dinner at midnight. Oh, that's so late. It's a very late time to have dinner. And let's see, the movie will start at 7 p.m. or I'll meet you at break time. Oh, that's perfect, at break time. That's a great example. Break time, lunchtime, words like that we use at. So good job, Sujit. Okay, and then we have a couple other examples of prepositions. We have I will see you at noon. I'm attending Nicole's class at the moment. That means right now on YouTube. Oh, very nice. Good. And I have an example with on that says I will, where is that one? There is a dog on the road. And this is a good example of preposition on. Although for this one, let's try at. Let's try at. But that's a good example. Good. And, okay, I'll just put one more, last one. I'll put I will watch Sean's class at 12 p.m. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Maybe we can all watch Sean's class a little later today. All right, fantastic. So I think at is pretty easy, right? Do you have any questions about at, or are we okay? Remember, if you have a question, just write it in the chat. But let's try the next preposition. The next preposition for time is the word on. Oh, I have a question. Okay, So can we make the sentence with preposition at in continuous tense or not, Nicole? Ooh, very good question. Let me write that here. So, can we make the sentence with preposition at in continuous tense? That's a great question. So yes, you can. For example, we could say he was sleeping at night. That is past continuous. I could say she is studying at the moment. This is present continuous. Let's see. I have been visiting my family at Christmas. That's present perfect continuous. So yes, we can use at for continuous tense. So good job. So very often we use simple for the clock time because we're usually talking about our habits or schedules. And habits and schedules, we usually use present simple. So that's why we saw a lot of present simple in the examples. So good question. All right, very nice. So let's look at the next preposition. Our next preposition is on. We use on to talk about time, especially days and dates. Day is like Monday. Or you could also say a holiday day, like New Year's Day or Halloween Day. Anything with day, except for the word today, but we'll talk about that pretty soon. Or even for birthday, like on my birthday right here. So date, let me go back and show you that word. Date is similar to day. Date is a number day. For example, a number day like June 21st. This is a number day or a date. Date means number day. So June 21st or May 6th, these are dates. So let's take a look at a question. So I had a couple questions here. Let's see. First question is, can you read notice at 50 m? Is that 50 meters? Let's see. So let's see. Can you read the notice at 50 meters? I might say for this, if you're talking about distance, I might say from 50 meters away, like from this far away. But if you're talking not meters, if you're talking miles per hour or kilometers per hour, we could use at. I'll give you an example. Can you read the notice at 50 kilometers per hour? You could say that. Because here at is kind of like while you are driving at this speed. So good. It's not a preposition of time. It's a preposition that talks about how. But it is a good example for at. Good. And I think I had a couple more questions. So we have, let's see. From 66 Amy, she's singing at the opera. So she's singing at the opera. This is a good example for at that talks about place. So it's not talking about time. It's talking about place, but that's okay. That's a good sentence. We use at for place and time, and other things too. So yes, that's a good sentence, but it's not talking about time. Okay, and I think I have one more question. So let's see. Suji asked, are you going to cover prepositions of place and direction? So probably not today because I only have a little time. But if you have a specific question, I can try to answer it. And in my lessons for my closed class, I think I do have a lesson on prepositions of place. So maybe if you don't see it today, if you join my class, maybe you can see it later. So good. And then Vimal asked, at plus place is also possible? Yes, absolutely. At plus place is okay. For example, now I am at school. So now I'm at school. So it's okay to use at to talk about place. Although today's topic is time. And if we have time at the end, I'll try to answer more questions about place. So good, very good job, you guys. Okay, so let's review on. All right, here is on. We use on for days and dates. Here's some example for days, or one example. On Monday, we had a test. Example for date, my birthday is on February 3rd. It's a date because we have the number. True story, that's my birthday. My birthday is on February 3rd. All right, can you make some sentences with on to talk about time? Not place, just time. Can you try in the chat? I'll write a couple examples while I wait for some sentences. Let's see. Maybe the children got candy on Halloween Day. Halloween is a holiday. It's a very fun holiday where people wear crazy clothes and get candy. It's kind of fun. It's a holiday in October. Let's see, let me do one more. How about, I'll do, let's see. I will begin my first closed class on September 20th. Closed classes start on the 19th, but my first class is Tuesday, so on September 20th. All right, let's look in the chat for some examples. Okay. Let's see, we have, let's see. I'm going to Washington on Friday morning. And then I had a question from Rosa. Rosa asked, do we use on only with days and dates? For time, yes. But we can use on for other topics too, like place. Like the book is on the table. That's using on to talk about place. But for time, just days and dates. All right, so I'm going to Washington on Friday morning. That's a good example. I will invite you for a date on Monday. Good. We will go to, I can't type. We will go to be with him on Tuesday. Those are all really good. Let me scroll up a little. All right, what else do we have? I have a moon cake on this day. Ooh, that's sounds really good. Let's see. I have birthday. My birthday is on October 18th. Oh, your birthday's very soon, Rosa. Well, happy early birthday. And let's see. I play football on weekends. Good. And so I have one from How. This is very interesting. You should go to class on time. So on time is just a phrase that we use. On time, it is a preposition though, so very, very good job. And it is talking about time. So on time is the opposite of late. So, ooh, that's a really good example of when we use on. And it is talking about time in kind of an interesting way. So good, very good job. So on time is the opposite of late. Okay, so, oh, Anthony asked a question. So Anthony said, I thought that on is specifying week, month, and year. You're very, very close. Week, month, year have different prepositions. Especially months and years, we're going to say in. So for example, let me rewrite this. So we can say in October, for example. That's a month. October is a month. Or for a year, we can say in 2002. So we don't use on, we use in. So for months and for years. For weeks, it depends on how you're talking about weeks. If you're talking about last week, next week, or future or past weeks, then we'll use some different prepositions or no prepositions. And I'll talk about those very soon. So that's a really good question, Anthony. Very nice. And that's actually going to be our next topic is in. So let's just review very quickly what we've learned so far. The first thing we learned today was at. We use at for clock time, Christmas, Easter, those are special holidays, night, and at the moment. I should just say the moment here. Because we have to add at the moment. We don't want to say at the moment. All right. And then we use on for days or dates. So very good job. So now we're going to talk about in, which should help answer more Anthony's question too. We're going to talk about in. So let's look. Let's look at the slide. In. We use in with months, years, so just like we said before, months and years, and also seasons. Do you know what a season is? Season is like summer, winter, fall, spring. Those are seasons. Let's look at some examples. Here we go. We have in January. January is a month. In summer, summer is a season. In 2020, or 2020, you can say, this is a year. In April, April is a month. Or in 1965. Again, that's a year. Ooh, so Steve asked a good question. Let me write that here. So Steve asked, we say on Christmas Day, but at Christmas, right? So yes, that's absolutely right. If you're talking about Christmas time, we say at. But if you're talking about exactly Christmas Day, like December 25th, then we say on. I'll give you an example for each one. Maybe we get presents on Christmas Day. But I visit my family at Christmas. So here I'm not just talking about one day. I'm not talking about exactly December 25th. I'm speaking more generally. Christmas time. Maybe the 23rd, maybe the 27th, around Christmas. Also, stores decorate at Christmas. Maybe it's, I don't know about every country, but in the United States, stores like malls, shopping malls, they put lights and Christmas balls, Christmas ornaments, and trees in the mall, not just Christmas Day, but usually all of December. So we can say at Christmas, like Christmas time. That's a great question, Steve. Very good. So it depends on if you mean exactly the day or generally. Day is on, generally at. All right, very good. So far, let's go back very quickly to talk about in. So we use in with months, years, and seasons. But that's not it. There's more. There's more reasons why we use in. We also use in for in the morning, in the evening, also the afternoon. I have a little chart here. Let's see. Okay. So, I have one more question. From Steve. It says if we say on Christmas, that means we're talking about the single day, 12/25, right? Absolutely. Perfect. If you say on Christmas, this means December 25th. I'll actually write that out. December 25th. Because I know some countries we switch the numbers. So on Christmas, December 25th. Exactly right. So good job, Steve. You got it. All right. So, one more question. So actually I'm asking about the sentence. Was it right? Classes will be off on Diwali. Okay. So, classes will be off on Diwali. If Diwali is a holiday, I think that's a holiday, the name of a holiday, then yes, that's perfectly correct. Because for holiday days, we use preposition on. So that's a good sentence, Vimal. Yeah, very good job. Cool. All right, so just to review, let's talk about in. We use in for months, years, or seasons. Let's look at some examples. For months, like we say classes begin in September. For years, they got married in 2009. Actually, that's when I got married, was in 2009. So seasons, in spring, I'm visiting my family. So good, in September, in 2009, in spring. We also use in to talk about the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. Not night. Remember, we use at to talk about night. But morning, afternoon, evening, we use in. We also use the word the article the. So for example, we study in the morning. In the afternoon, you eat lunch. Or they do homework in the evening. So for in, we use months, years, seasons, the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. And there's one more reason why we use in for time. Let's go back to the slideshow, the presentation. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Also, we use in to mean from now in the future. So let's look at some examples and I'll explain. Here are some examples. It says here, I'll call you in an hour. That means an hour from now. Most students, if they don't know this preposition, they will say after. Like, I will call you after an hour. But, I mean, that makes sense, but really, normal, usual speaking, we say in an hour. But you can think after if that helps you. So I'll call you in an hour means 1 hour future. So after 1 hour or 1 hour from now. Okay, I think we have a couple more examples. Let's see. So now it is 2016. Oop, and then let me hide my picture so I'm not in the way here. So now it is 2016. So the next World Cup will be in 2 years. So this means 2 years future, like after 2 years or 2 years from now. All right, and I think maybe we have one more example sentence. Yeah, we'll be back in 10 minutes. So this means 10 minutes from now or after 10 minutes, 10 minutes future. Very good. All right, so let's see. For example, this class finishes in 12 minutes. Oh no, 12 minutes, that's so soon. So this class finishes in 12 minutes. All right, so we'll talk about no preposition in just a minute. But here we go. I'll put this down all on one page so we can see it together. So for preposition in, again, months, years, seasons, morning, afternoon, evening, and then also for a future period of time, which is a little bit like the word after. And here's my example sentence. Closed classes begin in 4 days. Ah, so soon. Closed classes begin in 4 days. All right, I think you know what I want you to do. Let's try to make some example sentences in the chat. All right, take a minute, see if you can make some example sentences with the word in, talking about time. Again, you can use in to talk about place. So for example, I can say the pen is in the coffee cup. I don't really want to put it in there, but just for example. But that's talking about place. So for time, I'll give you another example. I can say, in winter, I like to ski. Winter is a season. Let's see if we have any more examples. Let's see. Oh, Anthony asked, can I say we'll be back? He said at 10 minutes? No, we'll say in. But this is a perfect example for in. In 10 minutes. If you say at, you have to say the time. So we will be back at, for example, 10 a.m. So at is for the time, like the time you see on your watch or your clock. But in is how many minutes later in the future. So think in is going to be before like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 weeks, 10 years. It's going to be a number and then a word to talk about time, like minutes, hours, weeks, like that. Does that make sense, Anthony? I hope so. Okay, do we have any other examples? No examples? Oh no examples. That's okay. Let's see if we have some more questions. Let's see. Oh gosh. So we use in to talk about duration, right? Oh, that's a good question from Rosa. So Rosa asks, we use in to talk about duration. So in a way, yes. But we're not saying that I'm continuing this action for 10 minutes. I'm talking about when in the future it occurs. For duration, we're going to use a different preposition. We're going to use for or since to talk about duration. So I'll give you a couple examples. Maybe I have taught English for 12 years. I have taught English for 12 years. This is duration because we're talking about when something or how long something continued. We could also say I have taught English since, oh gosh, what was 12 years ago? 2004? So I have taught English since 2004. So for and since are more about duration, talking about how long something happened. In is more about how far in the future is it, but it's kind of like duration. I can see why you think that. All right, I have another question. Let's see. I saw you at last night. Here we go. I saw you at last night. Is this correct? No, it is not correct. We would just say, I saw you last night. And here's why. We haven't talked about this yet, but we're just about to. So this is a perfect time to talk about the next part. When do we need no preposition? We have special rules for when we need no preposition. So this will answer your question. Okay, so let's take a look. Actually, for this one, because we have just a little time, I'll just put the chart here so we can see it all at the same time. Okay, so we use no preposition to talk about yesterday, today, tonight, or tomorrow. We also use no preposition to talk about this, last, next, and every. So your example had the word last night. So if you say last night, then you don't need a preposition. Does that make sense? So that's why. That's why you can't say at last night. If you use the word last, you don't get to say at. Good job. Okay, so I have another example. Okay. We're going to say, in the next hours, I'll be watching anime. That's from Unknown. So this is good. I would probably just make it singular if it's 1 hour. Or we can say I'd be more specific, in 2 hours. Blah, blah, blah. I'll be watching anime. Okay. If you use the article the, it is possible to use one of these words. And I haven't talked about that yet, but that introduces a really interesting point. If you add an article, then you can use these words after prepositions. And I'll give you an example. We could say, in the next 2 minutes, blah, blah, blah. So if you add the article. But if you just say next week, next month, next year, then we don't use a preposition. So you bring up a really interesting point. Good job. So let's look at these examples. Okay, because I hope that we can get through this before I run out of time. Because it's very useful stuff. So yesterday, today, tonight, and tomorrow, we don't need prepositions. For example, we met yesterday. Don't say on yesterday or at yesterday. We don't need it. Also, if you add another word like yesterday night or yesterday morning, we still don't use a preposition. If you say yesterday, don't use a preposition. And it's the same for these other words. So today, I want to go to the coffee shop. No preposition. What are you doing tonight? So tonight, no preposition. And finally, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm visiting my friend. Again, no preposition. And if you want, you could say tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon, and still no preposition. No preposition with tomorrow. So far, so good? Okay, and then the examples for these. This, last, next, and every, we don't need prepositions. If you say something like this week, or this month, this year, this season. So this week, we are learning grammar. We don't need a preposition. Where did you go last night? Or last week, last month? No preposition. And I'll just put the last 2 examples here. I don't want to travel next month. Again, for next, you don't need a preposition. And for every, she drinks coffee every day. So for every, we don't need a preposition. Every day, every week, every month, every year, no preposition. Let's see, I think I have another question. Let's see. So let's see, Zach, can we use future happenings in present tense with preposition in? So can we use future happenings in present tense with preposition in? So let me try to make a sentence and see if it works. So present tense, maybe the train comes in 5 minutes. So here, yes, absolutely. This grammar is present simple. One reason we use present simple is to talk about scheduled events in the future. And we could use a preposition like in to talk about how far in the future. So yes, it is possible, Vimal. Very good question. So Donnie D asked a question, said, is on last Christmas incorrect? Yes, yes, it is incorrect. We are going to say just last Christmas. Just. If you use last, then we don't need on. So last Christmas is good. On last Christmas, nope, we're not going to say that. So there we go. Let me strike through there. On last Christmas, we don't say, just last Christmas. For example, last Christmas, I saw Santa Claus. Just kidding, I didn't really see Santa Claus, but just an example. All right, so good. Okay, I hope that answers all of those questions. Let's see. Oh no, we are out of time. Oh my goodness. It's already 8:30. So just really quickly a review. We talked about at for clock time, Christmas, Easter night, and the moment. We talked about on for days or dates. We talked about in for months, years, seasons, the morning, the afternoon, the evening, or for a future period of time. And finally, we talked about times where we don't need a preposition to talk about time. Oh, there's so many more things I could teach you about time, but we are out of time right now. So remember, please sign up for the closed classes, and I will miss everybody who doesn't join because today is my very last open class. So I'm so sad that I won't be able to see you guys very much anymore. So thank you for coming, for joining my class, and spending this good time for me. And please, if you can, sign up for my class or one of the other teachers' classes. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.